All right, let's get serious and talk about building the next generation of C-suite, of diversity, of helping young people that really need information, mentoring, and building businesses in a way that is going to be sustainable and successful. Joining us to talk about this, Christina Teo, the chief builder of She1K, C-Suite Executive Angel Syndicate. This is going to be a great segment. Christina, thank you for being with us today. You are doing amazing work at She1K. Welcome to Money FM.
Thank you very much. I'm so glad to be here.
Tell us a bit more about She1K. How did it get started? And I know you're doing a lot of different things to help women, especially in the startup segment of business.
Well, I used to be a corporate executive myself. So after I retired and 5 years ago, I came back to Singapore and then I started getting involved with the startup ecosystem. And after learning a lot about it for about 2 years, I said, no, I need to apply my learning. I can't just keep networking and learning. And that's how I got started in angel investing. But alone, I can do so little. So therefore, I wanted to, kind of get back to all the corporate executives because that's a area that I can resonate with. And then so I created the syndicate so that C-suite executives who really don't have a lot of time, especially during pandemic times, to provide them a kind of a safer platform and a like-minded platform to get involved together to empower entrepreneurship, right? And to empower innovation of the younger generation.
Yeah, it's a wonderful initiative. I mean, as you say, it's the world's first C-suite executive angel syndicate. It's a wonderful thing. I mean, for the layman out there, for the benefit of those listening, maybe explain a little what you actually do when the syndicate. It sounds so mysterious. when the syndicate gets together, what do you actually do? What do you hope to achieve with it?
Right. So we created a structured program, right? So initially we started more on a casual basis, but we realized that that's not very productive. So by way of a structured program, which we call Sea Shark Tank, and we're entering the 5th season. In fact, the final stage is on September 2nd and 6th. And that's where the executives listen to 9 startups pitch. And these 9 startups have already been vetted by 65 VCs in July. Yeah. So this is kind of like MasterChef. You eliminate the bottom few, and then you feature the top. And then, there's a lot of interactive questions and answers, almost like what we're doing right here, right? And then as a group, we decide on the top 3 to invest. The secret sauce of our program, of our network, is the cash is committed upfront. So, it's almost like The Voice, right? It's blind. The executives actually don't know who is coming in to pitch, but they are committed to invest. So there is no waste of time. As you can understand, a lot of startups are looking for money, right? And it is a pretty tedious process. And very often, fundraising takes them away from the actual business, which is something that we fear, actually.
Sure. Talking with Christina Teo, the chief builder at She1K. I believe a friend of yours, Joycelyn Go, has said hello to you on Facebook Live. So there you go. Shout out from her. Christina, when you look at the challenges of working, especially predominantly female-owned businesses that you do with She1K, what are the special needs or the special considerations that you have to look at, or the way that you would mentor some of these up and coming executives? Is it very different from what men would face? Let's put it that way.
Okay, I do need to make a small correction, right? We are in fact gender agnostic when it comes to investing in the startup. But to be honest, there is still too few female founders, too few female-led startups. They may work in a startup, they may be a co-founder, so to speak, but to be the lead founder, there's very few. I mean, it's really less than 10% that walks through our door. I think it's still, there's many reasons. I mean, and it depends on which continent they're based, right? You will see more female founders maybe in the West. in Asia and especially in Singapore, I think we still have the comfort zone of having, good salaries and good companies. So where is the incentive to step out and create your own business, right? So there is a little bit of a trade-off over there. The other thing that we notice is when it comes to deep tech, when it comes to, pretty intense med tech, for example, you really can't find a lot of female founders who are either interested or skilled to do so, right? So without that domain expertise, which is one of the key things we look for when we invest, right? You can't be just any founder who dream of an idea or wants to solve a world problem, but you don't have that domain expertise or your team doesn't have that domain expertise, then that's a bit discount on your credibility.
Right. Can I just clarify, Christina? So She 1K, that's women, correct? That's all women.
Okay. So that's for women executives to invest. So we're empowering more female investorship. So that's a different side of the equation, right?
I understand.
Yeah, same thing that happens. Male executives jump onto this opportunity a lot faster than female executives.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to picture the scene. So you've set up this flagship program, Shark Tank, looking for investors. And you've already said that the investors you're looking for, the pitches that you're looking for, they're gender agnostic. But the people making the decisions behind Shark Tank, are they all female?
So 70% female and 30% male. Right.
And that's fantastic because that's obviously a completely different percentage dynamic than it would be in the corporate workplace generally. And I think that how does it play out? Do you feel a difference in that gender balance? I just think it's wonderful that it's completely reversed to the corporate norm.
Actually, I often make a joke. If a female founder were to pitch to a female investor, it actually doesn't get easier. In fact, it gets tougher because the female investor understands a lot of the markets that female founders go after, especially if the consumer is female, right? So in fact, the bar is actually raised, not reduced. Yeah. And for us, is I think that there is a big difference. Female executive and male executive, the lens that we look through is quite different. The things that we pick out are quite different. And even the intuitive part, right? Let's be honest. If you're meeting a startup, especially an early stage startup, right? They're still infant. What can you rely on? You are relying on your intuition about the founder, about the person that is pitching to you. And that's where I think female investors lean quite strongly towards. It's not that we don't look at other things, but I think that that intuitive spin is quite useful.
Yeah, Christina, Singapore has become quite a robust VC market, as has Hong Kong, for example, in recent years. What are the startups? What are the industries that you're seeing that are getting the biggest funding? Are they STEM related? Are they what are they? Where's the money flowing these days from the VCs, from the angel investors into new businesses? Right.
I think it's food tech and agri tech. As you can see, right, the huge valuations that you're getting from alternative proteins, plant-based. So it's very, very obvious the money is going there. FinTech is still very alive, except that maybe you really need to be very differentiated. It has to be something really unique. I mean, just like Robinhood got IPO, right? So that encourages more FinTech to come in. Then I would say there is, in Singapore, for example, there's a big push for deep tech, right? We invested in a construction startup that is involved in deep tech and so forth. So I think there is still a lot of money there. Med tech, of course, with the pandemic is very interesting, but it's a long game and it's not for everybody. So I would say generally that's where the money is going into, right? So if you're doing just plain e-commerce, plain marketing tech and plain HR tech, even if in the name of mental health, there may be a lot of interest in mental health, but there is very few startups who are doing something significantly different.
One of our listeners, viewers, Mike Ung, has an interesting question. I mean, I don't know if you can put an exact percentage on it, but he says, how many of the startups curated, the ones that come before you, kind of make it? What are the characteristics that you're looking for that makes a successful startup that you give a tick to?
Right. Well, we are early stage startups, so really early foster parents. So they're still infants. It's very difficult to measure success at this point. And one of the reasons why there is a space for angel investors is because, by the name that we're angelic, so to speak, right? There's a lot more patience. And we know that this baby is going to make mistakes. So we expect them to pivot. We expect them to fall. And hopefully they rise again. So it's too soon to tell, to be honest.
Fascinating.
Christina, if someone is listening or watching today on Facebook Live and they are in that early stage of their business, their preparation, maybe they're putting their business plan together, what are maybe one or two or three key things they should be thinking about, or key things they should do to better position themselves for VC funding?
Right. So maybe because I come from corporate, right? So my number one pet peeve, or rather insistence, is that people validate their proposition. Okay. So a lot of startups sell dreams instead of selling credibility. If you want to sell credibility, you really need to go out and talk to your target customers or partners that you want to use to reach the customers, to really figure out if that's the real problem that they are having, or are you looking at the problem in the wrong way, right? So
could you give us an example of that, Christina, of what, like a made-up example of what you mean by that?
So for instance, if you were targeting, say, children with asthma, right? You're trying to come up with a solution because a lot of people may be not taking the medication or not using the asthma device properly, and you're trying to kind of figure out how can you enhance the compliance, right? So you need to figure out, but do the parents and do the children really worry about that? How easy is it to get them to be compliant, so to speak? So you have to kind of talk to enough parents and figure out where is that gap, right? So the problem needs to be solved, no doubt about that. It's how you solve the problem that is the critical part. So very often that's what we find, there's some naivety maybe of certain startups, or many of the founders, in fact. So this test you need to do, right? So as an investor, we know the opportunity is there. We don't need to be educated on the opportunity. But what we need to be educated on is, how are you going to do it? How are you going to scale? How are you going to make it available to the masses, whether it's directly or through B2B, through a partner?
Got it.
Christina, thank you. That's fascinating. Now, with the Sea Shark Tank coming up in September the 2nd and the 6th, as you mentioned, season 5, can people watch this online or TV, or where can people take part in this?
Well, sadly, it is a closed-door event, and that's, again, our secret sauce, right? So that there's a lot of confidentiality of both the executives that are investing. Unlike the TV Shark Tank, where you see the same few sharks, right? For us, every season is different. And so we also protect the interests of the investors. However, we have another competition that I'll be judging coming up next week. I think that's for public viewing. And that's a China ASEAN Smart City competition. I think that's pretty exciting. It's my second year judging. And that's where, we have very ambitious startups who's trying to go to China.
Right.
Wow.
You spoke just a moment ago about making sure that you have a really good solution and not just a dream. That kind of answers one question we've had from Joycelyn Go online. Another one from Trisha Craig. Lots of startups fail and the founders learn from that. But people claim that in Singapore, failure is a scarlet letter. Do you see that mindset starting to shift, as in more people are accepting failure and learning that, hey, we've got to fail before we get better?
Well, I think everything, it's about how you position yourself, right? If you position yourself as a failure, or as a failure that you didn't learn that failure, then of course, I think it's about how you position yourself and how you position your failure. I don't think that the VC community and the angel community is judging on this, right? We actually do value experienced founders. Of course, it's better if you've exited and if you've made a success of your previous startup, obviously. Sure. But there's still enough money going around, so I would not be discouraged. Just make sure you apply the right lessons.
Well, I'll be turning up next week with my pitch. I don't know what it is, but I'll think of something. But LL Tarder's got a question, one of our viewer listeners. Is this a worldwide initiative, or do you just focus more on Asia? If you concentrate on deep tech, then simple apps and business models won't cut it. I assume she means in a worldwide marketplace. So is it worldwide, or is it just Asia-centric?
Okay, so for the competition that I'm judging next week, that is really just between ASEAN and China. And if we're talking about Sea Shark Tank, we invest in Asia, Europe, and USA. So there are territories that we don't cover.
Wonderful.
Well, if this thing ever ends up on television, Glenn and I will gladly host the Shark Tank.
Absolutely.
Why not?
Why
if you're looking
not?
for two hosts, we're there.
We'll be right there for you. Whatever you need from us.
Why don't we target one for next year?
There you go.
Right? And maybe we even start off with radio, and just like this, Facebook we get it live, and then we'll work on TV the year after.
There's a plan.
This is why you're the leader that you are, Christina, because you come up with these great ideas.
Yeah, and what is his name? Mark Cuban, right?
Mark Cuban.
Yes,
we'll be the Singapore Mark Cuban. There you go. Job done.
Why not?
Dan, the man, will produce it. We're there.
Yes,
Christina Teo, the chief builder of She1K and the C-Suite Shark Tank. Thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Good stuff there.
Yeah.
Hey, so important to be encouraging these new businesses. I was actually quite interested to hear that she's working not just with female oriented businesses, but with everybody.
And what I liked about it is we're often critical. Is very, she said, sometimes you get very airy fairy pitches, dreamies. No, how we know there's an issue with asthma. She used that example. How are you going to fix it? What's your gap in the market that you found? What's the market research you've already done before you come to the table? This is practical, hands-on advice that you need.
It's got to be, right? You've got to absolutely make sure that people understand what they're getting and what you're giving to them, right? If you don't do that, the markets are so saturated with so many other people out there.
Because I would be that guy. I'd be the guy going, plant-based foods, that's the future. Yeah, we know. But what about it? Oh, well, I like it.
All right, much more coming up here, including IKEA has got a Southeast Asia young designer